Wake up, wake up. You've got the power. You've got my people in the east, yo, you gotta wake up. Midwest, dirty south, yo, you gotta stand up. All my homies in the west, yo, you gotta wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Hey, hi everyone. We are Speak Out Now, and we are a revolutionary socialist organization that is holding this event today. We hold events like these, both in person and online, because we are looking for people who are interested in being activists and building a revolutionary organization with us to fight the urgent crises of our age. This event is going to be a Speak Out, so it's an open space for all of you to share your background and your experiences, and to talk about how the rollback of Roe impacts you and those around you. People want to hear your truth, so if you're ready, please join us in today's Speak Out.
I got my American citizenship about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And my rights as a woman, as a queer woman, as an immigrant will be protected. But yesterday, when I woke up, everything changed. And it made me realize that all the hope I had for this country that I've decided to choose as my home was unfounded, because the people that I can now elect are not really doing all that much to protect me, and people that we have not elected, that we have not chosen, are choosing policy for us. Thank you.
I'm up here right now because my daughter encouraged me to do so. And in about 1971, I moved to San Francisco. I discovered I was pregnant. We drove to Nogales, Mexico, and I went to a clinic at night. And when I get into the room to be examined, the doctor said that I was a little too far along to do the procedure that they do. So he would induce a miscarriage. What he basically did was kind of shove some knotted gauze up me. And after a show one night, I had a hemorrhage. And the first hospital my friend brought me to wouldn't take me because it was obvious what had happened. And then she took me to San Francisco General. And as I'm lying there, one of the young men interns berated me and told me I got what I deserved, and I'm lucky I wasn't dead. And right after that, abortions became legal in California. And when I told my mother what had happened to me, and she was in her 80s, and I was going to a demonstration, she told me what happened to her in the 1930s. She had to take a train to New York City. I don't know how she got the money together to see a doctor at a clinic and get an abortion at that time. So this is like generations of women who have suffered this. And I have a beautiful daughter and 2 incredible grandchildren who would not be here today were it not for the bravery of my mother, for one thing, and all the people that helped me. Thank you.
Definitions. When I think of abortion, I think of my mother. I think of being the only one. I think of being judged. I think of being misunderstood. I think of being ignored. I think of being silenced. I think of being controlled. I think of being given a second chance. I think of being normal. I think of being 1 in 4. I think of living. I think of dying. I think of making the best decision. I think of speaking up. I think of crying. I think of fear. I think of courage. I think of forgiveness. I think of joy. I think, thank God, I think you never forget. I think of the men who benefit. I think of wage gaps. I think of accessibility. I think of inaccessibility. I think of rape. I think of domestic violence. I think of what it means to be a parent. I think of the unwanted. I think of the unplanned. I think of the very much wanted. I think of unexpected complications. I think of millions of women unnamed. I think of ancestors. I think of grandmothers, I think of granddaughters, I think of girlfriends, I think of wives, I think of the politician's mistress. I think of women always finding a way. I think abortion has always been around. I think of coat hangers. I think of crossing state lines. I think of crossing borders. I think of providers risking their lives every day. I think it's nobody else's business. I think of safety. I think of necessity. I think of freedom. I think of a fundamental right. I think of love. I think of our bodies. I think of your bodies. I think of my body. I think of you. I think of me. I think of us.
It was expected that this was going to happen. We could just count the days and seeing it happen. And we knew that 9 Supreme Court justices would be making the decision for us. When 70% of the population was completely against just having abortions banned. What is that? Like, how can we live in a society that we have no voice at all? And this is for so many other things in our lives. And what really inspires me is that what really got access to abortion in this country, it's actually the fight of millions and millions of women who just had underground abortion clinics when it was completely banned, or who went on the streets and just fought back for the rights. And I think this is what we need to do today. We can't just, accept things the way they are, because things are going to get worse and worse and worse. This is just the beginning. I think we have so much power when we come together, and this is the type of power that we need to rely on. So, yes, thank you so much for hearing my speech.
And sexual and reproductive health has always been at the top of my mind. Back in 2014, I started helping out with Planned Parenthood down in Southern California. And, 2014 is when the debate over federal funding happened. Luckily, we were able to stop them. And it's really hard to keep trying, and you want to give up hope. Trust me, I've tried. And you want to give up hope, and you see things are worse, but it's not worse. We're coming together. We're understanding one another. Whatever you do, it's your choice.
I'm here with my 26-week fetus, and I'm sharing that with you all because this was my choice. I'm also here with my parents, my mom, who fought for this. And while she was with us at the protest yesterday and she's here today, it doesn't feel good to see this being reversed after such a fight 50 years ago. I think that mistakes were made. I think that we could have had an opportunity to codify this into law, and we didn't. I think that we are seeing, if we reflect back on the history of this country, that electoral politics, incremental change is not working. And I do agree, vote, that's one thing you can do in a 365-day year. But what else are you going to do? And there is a lot to do to get organized, to activate the people around you, to talk about the issues that make you mad, and to make real systemic change. I'm fighting here today for this next generation. I think that it is wrong that this choice has been revoked. I think that we need to stand up and fight back.
And I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here, because I feel less alone. I thank all the organizers because I feel less alone. And I know this is a long fight, and I cannot even believe that we are fighting this again. I'm from Spain. We are a little bit better there. I had the privilege of choosing when I had a son, and my son is now 11, and I had to explain this to him because I want him to grow up to be a man, to be a citizen of this country that understands that women and people that bear children are not second-class citizens, and that we deserve to be able to choose what we do with our bodies. I hate the whole sanctity of life, because whose life are we believing is sanct and is all precious? Is it ours? Because it's not. And I'm just, I don't know, I'm just mad. I'm really mad, and I want to just say thank you for being here.
I think life is a very complex thing, and it's all around us, and I don't know when it starts, and I don't know when it ends, but that's not really my concern right now. My concern is to protect life with dignity of those who are here and our control over our lives, our freedoms, and we need to do that by getting our asses in the streets. And how do we start? Well, you're here now. Thank you for coming. But you need to do more than show up. Showing up is fantastic. But what are you going to do with all the people around you? How are you going to get them to show up? You can meet everywhere you are with the people around you. You can have a talk about when the next time is that you're going to be able to get out there and organize, because we need to change the whole narrative in this country. We have a long fight. We're not going to get, Roe v. Wade reversed, certainly not with this court. But if we even to get Congress to pass a law, we need to be breathing a fire under their asses that burns really bright. So how do we do that? We need to change the narrative all around us in a similar way to the way the narrative around LGBTQ rights was changed, changing the culture of the society, changing what people deeply believe is right and wrong. We need to change that around what it means, what life means, and what freedom means, and what dignity means, and who has the right to be free. Which brings me back to another thing, which is those Supreme Court justices, the women in their lives, the people in their community that they know, they'll get an abortion anytime they want. This is not a problem that impacts them. Yeah, I can, any 18, 17, 19-year-old who's pregnant is going to be nervous, but they can get on a plane just like that and go wherever they need to go and get the best of care. So for them, that's not an issue. It's an issue for those of us who don't have that privilege, and especially for poor, for working class women, for women of color who die in outrageous numbers in this country because of our lack of health care and because of the lack of access to abortion rights and full health care. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I come from China. While I've been hiding over that corner, I was like, let me wait for a couple minutes to see any other Chinese people will come out and represent from an international point of view. I cannot hold it anymore, so I decided to finally come out stage and speak. The first time I heard about this whole discussion on the pro-life and pro-choice, I was like, pro-life? What is this supposed to mean? That can be an argument? That just sounds to me a whole argument about self-righteousness. Like you care more about the abstraction of a life that has not yet been formed than the real lives, real female lives that is giving birth to those people, and they are suffering, it affects their lives, their study, their career, everything. And more importantly, I know someone closely who have done abortions, and that person is my mom. Am I supposed to wake up the other day just to believe that my mom suddenly commit some genocide? What should we do? How should we react? And in general, how do we correct a systematic error through something like this, or through an organization like Speak Out? Here, we need to talk to people. We need to pick out our pen, or like the modern counterpart of it, like Twitter, social media. We need to get there, and we need to speak out. We need to tell people what we believe, and we need to tell people that we are all angry. Are you angry? Yeah. Yes, so am I. I'm from a totally different background, so if I can be here and speak out to everyone here, then you can too. Speak out to everyone, vocalize yourself, speak out on internet, everything. Express yourself through arts, music, anything you do, you can make an impact. Yeah, that's the two things I want to share. Thank you, everyone.
I got pregnant, I was 24 years old, and I found out really early. I found out like I was 2 days late, and I was able to go to Planned Parenthood. I was really fortunate in that I knew what I wanted to do. It wasn't really a question, it wasn't something I had to mull over. I wanted to live my life, and I wanted to have the opportunity to do that. And that was really important to me. Something that I think about really, really often is I got pregnant when I was 24. My mom got pregnant with me when she was 24, and her mom got pregnant with my mom, her first child, at 24. And I think a lot about the women in the lives that have, like the women in my life who have come before me and how much they've given up for me to be able to be here. They've given up everything about their dreams and what they wanted and what they thought that they could do for themselves, because their only idea of your existence as a woman was to provide for your family. You have the baby and you take care of them, and that is everything that you do. And I'm so lucky that they did that, because I'm here and I absolutely love them for that. But when I was pregnant, I didn't want to do that again. I had already lived that life. Like, my mom was a single mom. We grew up working class. It was just the two of us. And I've lived that life of not having support and not having resources and not having any choice in how you get to live your life and what you get to do. So when I got the opportunity to make that choice, I knew what I wanted, and I wanted to give myself a chance to do something more than have to give up everything like every other woman before me in my family has done. That's what really freaks me out about the point in time that we're in right now. And just there are so many people who don't have the access that I had just a few years ago. And it's scary.
Thank you so much.
Moving to be here with everyone and to hear folks' stories and to break out of this isolation and begin to sort of feel our potential collective power, the commonalities we feel with one another, with everyone sharing. So, I just wanted to say that, and I hope everyone's feeling that. And I think just wanted to encourage everyone as we leave here today, or as we're moving on. I think it's really important to think about how can we become organizers or think of ourselves as agents of change. And there's different ways that we can do that. I encourage you to find someone in one of the green shirts, give your contact info, get involved, take flyers. We have a lot of resources on our website that you can share with family, friends, coworkers. Encourage people to check out our shirts. We have a bunch of shirts for sale. The shirts which is taking a stand on the situation in a way as an organizing tool. It's a way that we can start conversations with those around us. So just wanted to share those words and thank everyone for being here. Thanks.